Yeah, I will definitely start us off. So, hi everyone, and welcome to Founder Fundamentals. We're so excited to have you all here for this really special session. This is a special workshop, I'm sure many of you have noticed, because it is hosted by our friends at General Assembly in Toronto. Now, General Assembly is a leader in education and career transformation, and they have tons of programs and workshops and online learning to support basically so many different areas in design, marketing, tech, data, you name it, they have it. So I do want to give everyone a warm welcome for the series today. This is actually the 8th event in the series. And I know that so many of you have been with us from the very beginning. So thank you so much for joining us each and every week. Now, before we begin, I just want to mention that we do have so many programs and services and events to support entrepreneurs that are completely free and open to anyone worldwide. If you're looking to start your journey as an entrepreneur or need support to help take your venture to the next level, LaunchU and YSpace offer free programs, services, and events to support not only students, but alumni and external community members as well. I do want to tell you about an exciting event that we have coming up. And this event is actually a part of our Entrepreneurial Alumni Speaker Series. So this one is featuring Emily Mills, and Emily Mills is actually a York University alumni who will be returning and sharing her story of entrepreneurship. And she is the CEO and founder of How She Hustles. So it's a really great event to attend. It's happening on November 26th at 12. And it's free and open to anyone. So I do encourage you all to register and attend that event. If you're interested in attending, you can register at launchu.ca/events. Now, I do also want to mention that this series is actually a part of our 11-week workshop series, Founder Fundamentals, and it's really designed to help aspiring entrepreneurs build and launch their startup. So this is the first time that LaunchU is actually hosting this series, and we're really excited to introduce it to audience members worldwide. And although it's completely virtual, the 11 workshops really are meant to provide hands-on learning led by industry experts. So those of you who do attend at least 9 workshops will get an Innovation York certificate of completion, and that will be issued to you at the end of our last workshop, which will be held in December. Now, this series could not be possible without the support of so many people working behind the scenes. And I do want to give a shout out to David Kwok, who is our Associate Director of Entrepreneurship at Innovation York. And David has really been so instrumental in helping us with the series. So I do want to give a shout out to him, and unfortunately he couldn't be here with us tonight, but we do have another member of the Innovation York family joining us, and that is Nafis Ahmed, who is the YSpace Entrepreneurship Manager. And Nafis will be also in the chat to help answer any questions that you may have. I also do want to take a moment to thank our partners, the Markham Small Business Center, for their support with the series, and I do want to mention their manager, Dawn, who is actually with us today to say a few words about the Markham Small Business Center.
Thanks, Diana. It's been a great series so far, and thank you to those who've been attending regularly. For anyone who's joining us for the first time, please continue to take a look at the upcoming calendar. There are really some great topics coming up. I do want to just also thank General Assembly for offering their expertise in tonight's session, but also just generally, generally speaking, they have stepped up a lot in the past 7-8 months that we've been under the COVID emergency orders, and have been offering a number of their learning series and workshops, some at no cost, and they've been really involved in the community. They're really professional and knowledgeable educators, and that's why the quality that you get, you don't normally have access to this, and so I'm so grateful for everything they've been doing. I just want to say thank you for your hard efforts and work. Josh team, it's been amazing, and I'm so glad this was looped into the Founder Fundamental series. This was not done on purpose, but I think this is part of General Assembly's just mission to educate and to inform, and so I do encourage you to take a look at their more in-depth series. They've got some really great topics, and I'm sure they'll convince you of the quality of their learning tonight. Just really quickly from the City of Markham's perspective, we are part of a network of small business offices across the province. And I would strongly encourage you to connect with us as you're working on your ideas, your business plans. We've got a couple of funding programs happening simultaneously. And in fact, General Assembly is the digital skills training partner on our Starter Company Plus program, which we've sort of rebranded for brick and mortar support. But if you're a student, and I know there are a number of students on the line, there's a great program called Summer Company that launches in the summer. I know it's only November now, and summer seems like a far time away, but businesses that have been sort of incubating or already perhaps getting started on a informal hobby type basis, now's the time to sort of start planning for that. And there are grants available of up to $3,000 to help you get started. So educate yourself on the digital skills. If you're working on the idea, YSpace and Launch YU have had a number of alumni who have also been funded through this summer company program. And so that's sort of my main message tonight is to think about those opportunities, pursue your business ideas, and get some government funding assistance while you're at it. Even if you're not in Markham, contact our office. We'll connect you with the office that services your area. But I'm just excited that so many people have stuck along on the journey, and please continue to make use of resources like this. I think the things that General Assembly is doing, the things that York University is doing, and municipal and provincial governments are really here intended to take you and support you along that journey. So I'll be sticking around in the chat. Feel free to ask questions, and I really look forward to tonight's session. So thanks for the intro, Diana. Shout out to Nafis. If you don't know Nafis, make sure you get to know him.
Legend.
He's an amazing resource in the community. And I'll leave it there. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Don. So I really do want to mention that the whole team has really been instrumental in helping bring this series forth, and especially this session today. So I do want to mention that I do want to actually welcome Josh, who is General Assembly's Toronto Marketing Manager, and Stefan Peralta, who's the Shopify Plus expert at Shopify, to really take it away. And they will be your hosts tonight. We will be there to assist in the chat with whatever you need, but the session is looking a little bit different. We are using Zoom webinar, so I know that we won't be able to see everyone, but hopefully you can all interact with us via the chat. So Josh, I will give it to you to take it away.
Hey, I want to let everyone know that you on this call are the most important people. You're here, you're starting businesses, you're creating economic activity during a really tough time. You're going to hopefully hire people and give others a well-being. So I want you to know that you are all super important. And on that note, GA, we just announced free Fridays. So all our most popular workshops are now free on Fridays and some Wednesdays. So maybe not completely free Fridays, but if you want to learn project management, SEO skills, there's data analytics in here, some data science in here. You have all access to this, and I will drop in the chat the link to that. Most importantly, everyone that you attend, GA will donate $1 to stand with refugees and asylum seekers through rescue.org. And so go sign up for as many of these, and we will donate that money to rescue.org. Great charity. So please, all this stuff is free and it is all accessible to you. So with that, I will hand it over to Stefan, and he can jump into it. We're going to learn some Shopify today.
Awesome, guys. Super excited for today's course. Lots of great value coming your way. So I hope you're just as excited as I am. So with that being said, I'm just going to share my screen and we'll kick things off. Yes, welcome to Success with Shop. Again, my name is Stefan. You can call me Stefan, Steven, Tomato, Tomato. My parents don't get it right sometimes, so no harm done. But yeah, we're talking all about Shopify. We're going to be going into setting up everything you more or less need to operate a Shopify successful Shopify store. So with that being said, a little bit more of a background of myself. I am a Shopify Plus expert. And for those who aren't too familiar with what a Shopify Plus expert is, I kind of deal with more of the enterprise side of the business, but I also work with a lot of small and medium-sized businesses. So I can give you a lot of good value through different kind of perspectives. But the great thing about large and small businesses is they share very similar scenarios and similar problems. So throughout all the value that I provide you guys today, it doesn't matter if you're a small or business or working with a large enterprise business. All of what I'm going to be showing you guys today is super applicable. And to kind of add on top of that, yeah, if you guys have any questions, feel free to drop it in the chat. I'll kind of save maybe 15 minutes at the end. And if you have any questions, I'll do my best to answer them. If I can't answer all of your questions, I'll give you some information for you to go ahead and follow me. And any other questions I can't answer immediately, I'll make sure to respond through my other social channels. But continuing where I'm at, yeah, so as you can see, I've worked with amazing brands like Budweiser, AB InBev, almost any beer brand you may have indulged with, to Doritos, to Jameson Vitamins. And I've worked very heavily with companies like Nestle. So if you like ice cream, chocolate, and all that good stuff, been able to work really well with a lot of their brands. And of course, Unilever, the large conglomerate of a lot of direct-to-consumer brands. So over it feels like almost 10 years now, I've been able to work with a lot of amazing direct-to-consumer brands, solving a lot of problems that they've been dealing with, whether they're small or large, and help growing them from there. To add a little bit of more of a background, I've also worked very heavily with Shopify I remember in 2011, I heard of this company called Shopify. And I was working as like a bit of a designer and a web developer back then. And I heard about Shopify, and I was going to all of these companies, all of these businesses. I'm saying, hey, this is Shopify. They're amazing. Like, look, all of these amazing things you can do with other companies. They kind of consolidate that and make it very intuitive and easy. And not many people really gave me a chance back in the day when it came to Shopify. But as we all know, Shopify is the global company it is today. It's helping millions of businesses all over the world. And I've been able to work with them very, very heavily over these 10 plus years. And even featured in Shopify Compass. LaunchYU, amazing organization. General Assembly, amazing organization. And Shopify's Compass is just another amazing educational program they put together. This specific program, I talk all about designing your online business, even if you have zero design background. So yeah, hopefully it gives you a little bit of a little bit more trust in what I'm going to be showing you guys today. And more importantly, I love Shopify. It's changed my life, and I'm sure it'll help change your life in that sense as well. So yeah. So in today's agenda, actually, I'm just going to move this over just a little bit more. In today's agenda, we're going to be talking about creating a Shopify account or a Shopify store. Next, we're going to be choosing a template, which will be more or less the look and feel of your Shopify store. From there, I'm going to be showing you guys how to create products and how to categorize products in something called collections. Next, we're going to go ahead and jump into the template we've picked and kind of customize the look and feel of it, just so it matches a little bit more of the brand foundation you're trying to put out into the market. Next, we're going to be talking about setting up pages like About Us pages, Contact Us pages, informational pages in general. From there, we're going to be structuring our navigation. How can users actually navigate through our online store? From there, we're going to be talking about how to set up shipping rates and how to calculate taxes, just to make sure you're remitting your taxes correctly, as well as you're charging accurate shipping rates to your customers. From there, we're going to be talking about how to get paid. But yeah, how to go ahead and collect payments from your customer. Following that, we're going to be talking about how to launch your Shopify store properly. There's lots of tidbits along the way, and after this kind of agenda, we're going to be talking a little bit about Shopify apps, how to extend your Shopify store to do more specific customizations based off of maybe your industry. And I'm going to be leaving you guys with some really good additional value at the end of this session, just so you guys don't feel like you're alone. That's what the Shopify community is more or less is about. It's a community. When I first started learning about Shopify, I started meeting with businesses all over the GTA. And some of the folks that I were able to meet along the way, I actually started a Shopify specific agency with them. So when you're looking at Shopify just as a tech platform, they're more than that. They're a community. And yeah, I'll kind of leave that there, and we'll kind of continue our session. Oh, if I can, there we go. Now, before you even get started with your Shopify store, Make sure to define an MVP. Now, for those who aren't too familiar with what an MVP is, it stands for minimal viable product. And what that kind of philosophy surrounds is when you're going to be launching your Shopify, your online business, or even your retail business, you have to be able to put together a casual list of what's the least amount of things that I need to do as a business owner to be operational. Now, that applies really, really well with online stores because in a modern day, we want all of the bells and whistles. We want every specific feature because we think every feature we add to an online store, whether it's a nice newsletter pop-up or it's a cool order tracking functionality, those are things that we don't necessarily need. So keep this in mind. Less features equals less build/setup time equals going to market quicker equals, more importantly, getting sales quicker. So as I'm telling you guys all of this information and all of this value, please make sure, kind of define the steps you need to take and as minimal steps you need to take in order to go live with your online or offline business. Now, let's talk about creating your account. If you were to go to shopify.ca, you'll see a large call to action to start your 14-day free trial. That's a great way of starting your Shopify store. It's super easy. Just enter the name of your business, your email, enter a password, and then create your store name. Now, when you first start off with your Shopify store and don't have a domain hooked up, which we'll later on discuss as we proceed, you're going to have a .myshopify URL. So if I were to start stefan.com, it would most likely start off with stefan.myshopify.com. So that way I can publicly access it or provide it to other folks or friends that can provide some really good feedback to start off with. Now, choosing your template. When we start off with Shopify, Shopify has a really amazing theme marketplace, a template marketplace. And the reason why I immediately jump into that really earlier on in our kind of building phase is there are so many different Shopify themes, which we'll be getting into, and so many different templates that kind of give us an almost finished look, an idea of where my online store is going to go. So it's really great to actually invest maybe a couple hours. I've invested quite a few, but invest in a few hours earlier on and then looking at through all of the different templates that Shopify offers and make sure that you can get a general sense of what your business can look like. But sometimes a lot of people come to me and they say, Stefan, I really don't know what Shopify theme I should pick. And that's totally normal. We're getting started with this. And the answer, I really hate to say this answer because it comes up a lot, is it depends. It depends on a few different criteria. First, you want to establish who is your audience? Who will you be marketing to? When you're kind of building your company, you're building a solution to a problem. So who is the audience that's facing that problem? And that's your target audience typically. Let's just say I'm dealing with a cool, young, Gen Z, TikTok style audience. That's a good idea because what do TikTok style, Gen, young, amazing professionals do? They love video. So incorporating like video in your online template would be a great start. Next, you want to get an idea. What kind of business am I bringing into the world? Is this going to be a business that's selling maybe one specific product? Or maybe I'm like a wholesale liquidation style Amazon online business selling a lot of different products. There are templates that kind of are specific to one product, and there are templates that are amazing for lots of products. Next, you want to know is how much content am I going to be bringing into the world as well? Am I going to be blogging on a constant basis? Is content going to be a huge focus for my business and my brand? Or am I just specifically transactional, only focusing on shopping? These are things you got to take into consideration, and I'll show you why shortly. And next, you need to know what kind of theme features work best for your store. And let me give you an example. Let's just say I'm going to be focusing on a large inventory online store. I'm going to be selling electronics from all over the world. If you're going to be dealing with a lot of products, you're going to most likely need a feature that helps give users a chance to find their product as easily as possible. And so maybe that's like a large drop-down mega menu, which we'll be reviewing later on, or maybe on the category pages, maybe a really nice search bar, or maybe a nice filter area. these are things we got to review, of course, and to kind of think about behind the scenes as we progress with this. So just to let you know, if you're kind of bootstrapping your business and you're trying to keep it as lean and cost effective as possible, there are free Shopify themes to explore and play around with. So you don't really have to go into thinking with Shopify, I need a lot of back-end revenue to kind of get my business up and running. There are free themes to get started with, and they're actually really solid. And in my demo store, which I'll be going through with you guys, I've actually chosen one of the free themes, and it's pretty cool. Awesome. So what we're looking at right now is the Shopify dashboard. It's funny because the image you're looking at right now is a little bit of an older version. Maybe a week or two, Shopify just changed a little bit of their look and feel. Everything we're reviewing is up to date. Just don't mind the aesthetics. But what we're looking at right now is our Shopify dashboard. If we wanted to go ahead and start picking a template, we would first go ahead and log into our dashboard, and this is what we would see. And then you can see under Sales Channel, Online Store. Once we click Online Store in our Shopify dashboard, we're going to see a call to action saying visit the theme store. Once we go ahead and visit the theme store, which I'll be doing any moment now, we'll go ahead and find a Shopify theme. In this example, this is the free theme that I'm using in my demo store. And this theme is called Brooklyn. It's one of my favorites. And luckily I've had good friends build it, so that's a nice little tidbit to add. But if we wanted to just strictly access the Shopify theme store, we can just Google it if we want, or go into themes.shopify.com. That's one way of going about it. Or here we're in my Shopify dashboard. If I click in Online Stores and then scroll down, I can go ahead and see my themes, but I can also go ahead and visit the Shopify theme store. The benefit of doing this approach is you're already logged into your store, and when you access the theme store, it recognizes that, okay, this theme store is specific to the Shopify store. So here we can see lots of different amazing themes. The great thing about it is we can actually go ahead and see different themes that are specific to like food and drink, different industries, maybe themes that are more or less new to the market. So let's go ahead and click all themes for the time being. And the great thing about this is we also have more filter criteria. Maybe you're dealing with themes that are a single product. Here we can actually see specific Shopify themes that reflect companies that are selling one specific product. Or maybe we're dealing with a Shopify theme for large catalogs. This is a really great way to filter through all of the different available themes for you. But in this case, I'm going to go ahead and start free. We'll go ahead and choose narrative for the time being. Narrative is a really, really fantastic theme to start off with, but keep in mind this theme is specifically for one specific product. Or maybe just one or three. Yeah, I'll say one or three. It's really cool. When we go ahead and click Add Theme, remember, we accessed our theme store from our Shopify dashboard. So if I click Add Theme, it's going to add this theme directly to my Shopify dashboard. Or what's really cool is I can click View Demo. View Demo is going to give me a demo of this variation of theme. And what I mean by variation is it's really cool to see when you start changing images and colors and typography, how the store really starts to become one with the brand. So if I want to do a demo of any of these variations, I click View Demo. From there, I can scroll down and see specific theme features that I'm being marketed to. Cool hero images for video, which is amazing. This theme's really good for storytelling. These are really cool theme features to start giving you an idea instead of you having to download every Shopify template on their marketplace, and which gets really time consuming and might be slightly jaded. I wouldn't be surprised, but the really cool thing is it gives you even more additional information about this theme. And what's really cool is you can actually see other brands using this theme, little case study, little demos. And like I said, brands updating your images, your typography, your colors really starts to make that theme your brand's theme, which is really, really fantastic. Besides that, you can go ahead and see all of the different reviews. Now, Shopify is very strict with fraudulent reviews. So the reviews you see are 100% real. Here you can see negative reviews, and you can read in why those customers had a negative experience. But typically you'll see more of a positive review for all themes. So keep in mind, sometimes folks aren't too tech savvy, and that's what attributes to negative reviews and things of that nature. But more importantly, reading reviews is so critical, and it gives you the confidence that these are real reviews from real businesses. So yeah, we kind of looked at how to access our Shopify theme store, cool ways to kind of find themes that help depending on industry, different criteria. And this is how we can go ahead and add a theme to our Shopify store. Now, if I go back into my Shopify store, I can see that I have my demo store. This is a theme called Brooklyn that I've gone ahead and renamed. Now, if I just move this over and I click Actions, I can actually go ahead and view my Shopify store. So this is just a little demo store I created in the background. What I'm trying to sell is cell phone cases for yogis. Now, that's a really weird business, but the great thing about it is it's very niche, it's very focused. I have one specific audience, yogis, and I want to be able to, and yogis hate plastic style products, don't we all? So I have organic phone cases. That's my solution to their problem. They want to buy sustainable goods, and my products, which you can even copy at the end of the day, beats me, I don't sell them. But anyways, it's sustainable products for my target audience. These are things that I know that they like, and I have an identical audience that I'm looking for. So later in acquisition opportunities like Facebook campaigns, I can really market specific to yogis who like sustainability and things of that nature. But before I get off topic with my demo store, I'm gonna go ahead and continue. So, as we also saw, this is a really great way to practice our Shopify templates. As I mentioned, when we're looking for themes, we have great ways to actually filter what theme might be best based off of products, based off of different criteria I've established earlier on. Now, when it comes to picking a theme, don't pick a theme because you like the picture or you like the colors. Those are things you can mimic down the road. Pick a theme because it has a really good maybe drop-down menu, which I'll be going through in a short period of time, or maybe it has a really good filter, or maybe it offers video. These are things that are very complicated to build out or even higher to build out for. So pick functionality over aesthetic any day, and that will save you lots of time and lots of frustration as well. So as I mentioned, when you've accessed a theme, you can go ahead and click Try Theme. Now, we could have installed a free theme, but when it comes to a paid theme, like this amazing theme called Streamline by Archetype, you can try it directly in your Shopify store before you even purchase it, which is really great because once you're done setting it up, you can actually purchase it later on. All right. Now, if you are looking for online store inspiration that actually has Shopify stores using default themes that we've been reviewing so far, this is an amazing article by Shopify. So I believe there'll be a link somewhere in the chat or maybe in a Slack group, but somewhere. And regardless, here is a link. You also have access to the slide deck. If you click the link, you'll find it. And these are really cool Shopify stores. Now, there's some things you gotta keep in mind when you wanna go ahead and pick a template. Outside of the Shopify theme marketplace, there are other marketplaces. I'm not gonna name them, but there are other marketplaces. And I strongly recommend to not stay away from them, but do your due diligence. When you're using a theme outside of Shopify, more importantly, Shopify won't support it. So you can't really call Shopify support and say, hey, my theme is maybe a little bit buggy or not working to what I expected. They'll typically say, go reach the theme developers, and there's less strict criteria in third-party marketplaces. So try to avoid them if you can. Yeah, so read the reviews and check the documentation before you install a theme. I know we just want to dive right into it, but it's super important to educate yourself before starting to execute anything. What we reviewed so far is stores using this theme. So when you're on a specific theme, scroll down and you can actually see real brands, real stores using that Shopify template / theme. Now, before you commit to installing a theme, just try it out. Look at a demo similar to what we reviewed. Because themes, if you were to choose a paid theme, for example, they're non-refundable. Shopify is great because it allows you to try a paid theme. But once you pay for it, it's completely non-refundable. You might have some luck if you reach out to the theme developer, and maybe they'll give you credit for another theme of theirs, but keep that in mind. And last but not least, if you are not familiar with web development, coding, and things of that nature, I would strongly avoid customizing the code of the theme because it might introduce some risk that none of us want to run into. So yeah, things to definitely keep in mind. Now, let's go into adding a product for our Shopify store. So let's just say, okay, amazing. I have my Shopify store and I'm ready to upload my first product. How do we go ahead and do so? But wait, there's things to consider before adding a product or a product page. Please keep in mind when you want to upload a product, have the best photography possible. And you know what? Some Shopify stores even offer video. But at the end of the day, if you're selling online, your customers have no way of actually interacting with that product. They can't feel it, they can't smell it. None of their senses are accessible when looking at that product. So the better the photo, the more successful you'll be in selling your product. When you're writing a description for your product, you have to explain the benefits of that product. Let's just say in my case, I have a product that's solving a problem. My target audiences are these like hippie style yogis that want sustainable goods. And I want to communicate that these are sustainable products that don't hurt the environment and add a little bit of a story. If you're going to be adding a social mission, similar to like how Josh mentioned that General Assembly contributes to nonprofits, if you purchase one of their courses, that's amazing because at the end of the day, we're all in this together. So if you have a social mission, if you have an amazing backstory behind your product, please communicate that. Don't write too much. You don't have to write 4 pages of descriptions, but keep it simple, all right? There's KISS. I don't know if you guys ever heard of KISS. Amazing band, kind of scary, but there's an abbreviation, keep it simple, stupid. I don't like to use the stupid part, but it kind of makes it funny. So no matter what you do, try to keep it simple with your photography, keep it simple with your description, and there's many other cases down the road where we're gonna say KISS, keep it simple. But let's go ahead and actually add in a product. How do we go ahead and add a product at all? To do so, all we have to do is log into our dashboard, and here we can go ahead and click products. This is what it's like when you actually have products added to your Shopify store. I have quite a few. But if I wanted to go ahead and add a product, I'll just dock this below here. All we have to do is click add product. It's a great way to manually import products. So all we have to do is enter the title of our product, the description, add images, video, or you know what's really cool? Shopify integrated with augmented reality. So that's really advanced, but there's multiple media files that you can upload, but to keep it simple, we'll go ahead and add our image. We'll first add in our price. If we ever want to add some sort of discount, so like let's say we want to have a sale, we can put our sale price here. If you want to be able to actually get an idea of your margin, your cost per item, you can enter that as well. This is really important. If you don't charge sales tax, uncheck this. But typically we do charge sales tax, so I'll leave that check. Here we can enter the SKU, so the specific identification code for that product. Let's just say your product has multiple variations, like a t-shirt with like a red, blue, or green design. Each design is going to have its own individual SKU, its own identification code. Super important. If you have a barcode for shipping specific or fulfillment specific reasons, enter that here. You can even track the quantity. So a lot of themes will actually show a sold out state if there's no quantity left in that specific product. But if you're selling like a digital good, let's just say like a recipe or a book, you can more or less untrack your quantity. If we're going to be charging shipping for this specific product, we can go ahead and leave this check. And if you're using weight-based shipping calculations, you're going to go ahead and want to enter your weight-based shipping here. Now, let's just say you're going to be selling internationally. There's something called an HS code, which is your harmonized system code. And typically all you have to do is just say where you're based out of right here, and then type in your specific product or a category. That'll give the customs officer in whatever country you're shipping to a general idea of what kind of good is shipping into their country, whether that's like coffee or whether that's another physical good. Just type in categories and you'll typically find an HS code, and that'll be super beneficial for customs officers. So you don't have to kind of rip your product apart when they're getting an idea of what kind of good is entering their country. Now let's look at variations. I'm gonna move this back over here. Variations are a way for us to have different variants of our product. So let's just use a t-shirt example. I have medium, I have large, and I have small. Different variations. We can only offer 3 options of variation. So let me give you an example. Color, red, blue, and green. And let's just do materials super quickly. Geez, it doesn't for me. That was kind of weird. Let's say wool. Hopefully I spelled that right. I probably didn't. Geez, I can't think of any other fabrics. I don't do a lot of shopping in my life, but here you get the general idea of different options that we can kind of move forward with. And here we can see we have all of our variations combined. Looks a little intimidating at first, but what this allows you to do is saying, hey, if I have a medium shirt, it's red and it's wool, I can add a specific SKU. Now, it's a little bit of upfront work, but it pays dividends down the road when you're trying to keep a track of all of your specific products. So besides that, we have our search engine listing preview. This is accessible for products, pages, blogs, but once you start adding, let me give you a quick example. Test product, if I could spell, that might be a little helpful. And if I add a test description, you can see at the bottom that it's already being pre-populated for me. So you don't have to worry too much about it, but it's there in case you ever want to make an adjustment. Besides that, you have more or less an opportunity to publish this product. You can draft it or actually keep the product active. So let's just say you want to draft it and remove it, but like not have to delete it. You can go ahead and do so. And then you can choose where it's available. Maybe you want this product to be available with a point of sale system, or maybe you want to be available just on your online store. You can go ahead and toggle that. In this case, I only have an online store, so I'll leave it be. If you want to organize your products, you can state the product type and vendor. It's really beneficial if you have a really large SKU, a really large catalog of products. We're not going to be talking about collections yet. I'll be talking about that later. And tags, we don't have to worry about that. It gets more advanced. It really depends what theme you're going to be working on. But here you get a general idea of how to add your product. So more importantly, title, description, media, pricing, inventory, shipping, and you're good to go. Bam. So in this case, I haven't really added my product, but I've added a sufficient amount of products. Next, we're going to be talking about collections. So I've created my products. How do I categorize my products? Let's just say you have a summer sale navigation item on your homepage. How do you add a product specifically to a summer sale? Or maybe in this case, I have just a category of just phone cases. This is really, really neat because I'll show you later on how you can add your categories to a navigation item so customers can access, maybe you have a summer sale, like I said, maybe you have phone cases, and there's other ways collections kind of work. So how do we categorize products? Well, that's a good question because I kind of asked it selfishly. So when we're adding products to a collection, so when we're adding individual products to different categories, different collections, there's 2 types of collections. There's manual collections and automated collections. In automated collections, it works really well when you're dealing with lots of a heavy catalog store, lots of products. Let's just say I want to start adding items to this category, this collection, that are based off a product title. Or maybe I want to create a collection. Let's just say I'm an outlet store selling lots of goods, and I want to create a category of all my products that are just shoes, for example. I would create a product type, and then the product, when we were creating it earlier, we can say shoes. Oh, if I could spell, shoes. Now, when I'm creating a product, and in the product type, earlier on we looked at, if I say shoes, or maybe the product title, you know what, let's use product title, it's a little bit easier, contains the word shoes, that product will get automatically added to my collection. I don't have to manually add it. It's really, really neat. But let's just say we're starting off small and we just want to manually add products to a category / collection. All we have to do is just say, I'll just use test collection for the time being. We don't have to write a description if we don't want to. And we have manual checked, beautiful, save, now. Behind the scenes, Shopify is saying, okay, this is a manual collection. So we can start adding products to our collection. So I can browse through a bunch of different products I have. And the benefit of this is all of these products are now being added to my collection. I'm just going to drag and drop this. Oh, just going to drag and drop this a little bit over here. A little bit of technical difficulty always makes things fun. There we go. So I'm just going to add it to my products, and bam. Now we have a collection of products. Let's take a look of what that looks like on our online store. Now, if I were to take users to a page, let's just pretend this test collection is called Summer Sale. I have all of my products visible here under that specific collection. It's really neat. It's a great way, like I said, to categorize products. Here in this example, we have men's shoes, women's. These are collections at the end of the day. And then we've assigned that collection to a navigation item. So it's really, really neat. And I'll kind of leave it there because we have a lot more to review. Alrighty, guys. So what's next on our list? Now, when we're adding a product, there's some things you got to maybe address when maybe adding your product description. Anticipate why your customer won't buy. And in typical scenarios, they don't know if they can return the product. They don't know if there's shipping involved. These are things that typically happen in an e-commerce experience through a customer perspective. Maybe address shipping in your return policy, like I mentioned. Add social proof badges. Maybe like, my mom bought this. It's really cool because you add like a humanized factor. Or maybe just say 100% refund guaranteed. Those are kind of things like badges. Or maybe just say 100 people have bought this product. It adds some confidence right off the bat. And if you're going to be selling a really expensive product, like I've built stores where we've sold maybe like $30,000 diamonds online. It's pretty crazy, but not everyone has a credit limit of 30,000. I definitely don't. But there's companies like Sezzle and Affirm that offer partial payments, which is really, really neat. So here we kind of talk about collections again. And as I mentioned, there's two types of collections, two ways of categorizing our products: automatic collections and manual collection. So just to reiterate, automatic collections allows you to set conditional logic saying, hey, if my product is a shoe, add it to this category of shoes. Or a manual collection, you can just manually add that shoe to that collection of shoes, which we later on displayed. So let's go ahead and customize our store. How do we customize our store? I'm going to stop saying, well, that's a good question, Stefan, but it's kind of gets a little repetitive after a while. But how do we go ahead and customize our store once we've actually updated it? So here we can see our demo store. The main bubble here is a representation that this is your public store. And to customize it, all we do is click Customize. Now, what we're looking at is the Shopify Customizer. It's a very, very powerful tool. The benefit of the customizer is it allows you to actually go ahead and start customizing the look and feel of your store. So I won't get too much into this, but here's my slideshow. You can see that these customizable options here follow the order of the actual web page. We have our header at the top, we have our slideshow, we have our phone cases, and we have little widgets. All of these widgets are specific to what Shopify theme or template that you're starting off with. But let's just say I wanted to update my slideshow. All I have to do is go ahead and click on my slide, scroll down, and say your inner Zen, in case I had a typo. Isn't that cool? It's all real time. And once we're ready and we want to save it, just go ahead and click save, and we're good to go. The great thing about this is I can go ahead and navigate to different blog posts, different products, different collections. And let's just say I want to customize my product page. I can go ahead and click my product page, and then all of my options will be available. It's really, really neat and really, really easy as well. So there's a lot more to go through. If there's any more questions about customizations, I'll answer them later on, but that gives you a good, hopefully it gives you a good general overview. But the main things, even in my course, Shopify is really good typography product through imagery. Make sure your typography is consistent. If you're going to be working with a type, try to use one or two types, just not to get too complicated. And make sure you have a very simple color palette. In my case, for my online store, I'm just going with yellow, black, and white. Nice and simple. Yellow to accent the areas I want customers to look at. White for, of course, the background. And black for typography, for good legibility purposes. Let's talk about designing your homepage. When you're looking at to design your homepage, typically, I'd say 5 to 15 seconds But realistically, customers only spend about 3 to 5 seconds on your homepage. So make sure your navigation is as simple. Don't add too many navigations. Like if I'm an outlet store, I don't want to add maybe shoes, sweaters, all these different criteria, all these different collections. Maybe a simple navigation item called shop, because that's what your customers want to do. And if they click shop, there's ways to display more information from there. Keep your content above the fold. What do I mean by above the fold is when you're designing your homepage, make sure the most effective area of your homepage, users don't have to scroll past. You want to communicate as much as you can before users have to scroll, because at the end of the day, users don't scroll as much as we think they do. Make it clear what you're selling. Why should people buy it? These are things you need to take into consideration. And on your homepage, have a very strong call to action. Super, super important. So here's some examples. Year and day. Make it easy to set a table you love. They sell items for table arrangements. And a large call to action, shop all products, right in your face. That's really good. Allbirds, run hard, tread light. That's kind of their motto. But I really like how they have a simple navigation for just men and women specific products. And they have 2 call to actions for shop men, shop women. Really, really neat. Function of beauty. This is really cool. They have a hair care personalization quiz. That's one of the Shopify apps that are available in the Shopify App Store. A quiz that'll actually find you a personalized product. Really neat its product. And very effective homepage. You see how the navigation items are super, super simple? Always make sure. Now, here's one of my clients and good friends of mine, Black Toe Running. In their homepage, they have a nice Z-style pattern for the look and feel of their homepage. Keep in mind how even a user reads. Typically, in the Western world, a user would read left to right. So having that Z-type pattern for a homepage is really effective. Now, Spanx does a really cool job of actually adding little widgets to their homepage to reduce hesitation for purchasing. Try them yourself, have them shipped to you, and then you can pay if you want. 60-day money-back guarantee, free no-hassle returns. And then they actually have lifestyle imagery of people using their products. So effective. Now, additional items to add to your homepage are social proof. So maybe adding some reviews from friends and families if you're just starting off, including testimonials, very similar. Adding an Instagram gallery is a great way to actually add social onto your online store. And a newsletter is really important as well. Now, I'm not a big fan of pop-ups, but they are very effective for a business because at the end of the day, making revenue, making money is one thing, but collecting emails is almost just as important to making money because emails and sometimes phone numbers, if you're into that kind of marketing, typically attributes to sales, which attributes to gaining revenue. Now, if you're going to be adding things like little call to action imagery to your online store or even your social media and you want to keep consistent, there's a tool called Canva. Some of you may have heard of it, some of you may have not. It's probably the best starter when it comes to designing imagery for your website, your social media, anywhere you need imagery. It's a free tool and it's super fantastic. So shout out to Canva, a really cool tool. Now, let's talk about designing an effective product page. Now, let's look at Chubbies, for example. Chubbies is a really cool lifestyle swim short, swim good style brand. But what do they have here that makes it really effective? First off, they have a really clean and simple photo, just all white, super easy. Next, they actually have a free 3-day shipping on orders over $35. It's amazing. They display their price nice and effective. And here's an example of Afterpay, which is like a installation payment type of app, which is super effective. On the social proof side, they even have reviews on their product page, which at the end of the day, it's a great way to actually start building some trust if this is the first time your customer is accessing your online store. Chubbies does a great job. If you scroll down on the Chubbies page, they add even more information. They explain their product to a T, and they explain the benefits of their product. Super effective and something you should keep in mind when designing out a product page or even adding a product description. Something I really like, if you scroll to the bottom of a page, and a lot of themes have this, Is it recommended for you? Let's just say your customer isn't enticed to buy that specific product. Here are other products that are relatable to that specific product. And Shopify actually has a bit of an engine built into their dashboard and their platform, and it actually spits out complementary products. So sometimes it's theme specific, sometimes it's Shopify engine specific, but regardless, adding products below your main product page is a great way to give customers opportunity to explore more products instead of kind of bringing them to a dead end. Setting up your pages. So what I mean by setting up your pages is sometimes you'll go onto a online store and you'll see like an about page, or you'll see a contact page, or you'll see a page that talks all about your return policy or terms of services. How do we add those pages? So let me jump back into my dashboard. For me to create pages for my online store, I click Pages under Online Store. And here you can see that I have an About Us page as well as a Contact Us page and Returns page. But if I wanted to add another page, all I have to do is click Add Pages, add the title of my page, add a description, and that's as simple as that. If you want to add imagery to your specific page, you can add images here within your page. But if you want to keep it nice and simple with a very simple one-column descriptive page, you can easily do so here. So this is the way you add pages. Now, sometimes depending on what template, what theme/template you're using, they might have different designs for different pages. In my case, I have a typical one-column, simple-looking page. But if I wanted to add a contact page, which would have a contact form built into the theme, I can easily go ahead and do so. And then once I add some text and description, below that text will be a form for customers to reach out to me. It's really, really neat. So that's how we go ahead and actually create pages. Now, if I have time, I can go into a little bit more in depth, but like I said, lots of great value coming your guys' way. So, oh, that's not what I need. That's what I need. There we go. So really, really fantastic. I should recommend when starting your online store. Add an about page. Add your mission. What are you all about? Make sure to actually add a little bit of a human aspect if you're going to be storytelling. People love that. People like buying from people, not so much from brands when starting off. Contact us page. People will need to reach out to you, whether it's fulfillment, whether it's just general inquiries. Super important. Every template, every Shopify theme has a contact us template that we can assign to a contact us page. Add a return policy. Super important. Reduces hesitation for purchases. And add a terms and condition. I'll show you some really cool areas where you can actually get a bit of a sample for your terms and conditions and return policies. And yeah, let's go from there. Okay, let's talk about navigation. How do customers get to a specific page? How do customers get to a specific collection or category? This is what I mean. In my demo store, I have 2 navigation items and a drop-down menu. How do I actually go ahead and make that? To do so, we go ahead and click into navigation. Here in navigation, we can go ahead and actually, well, once it loads, of course, we can actually go ahead and see all of our navigation items grouped. We have our main menu and our footer menu. Now, you might be a little confused right now, but there's different groups for our navigation. And let me explain a little bit more. Here we have our main menu. And below, we actually have our footer menu. Now, typically in my store, I want to focus on shopping. So I'm going to make navigation items that are shopping specific. But if I want to give more information about my brand or contact us, I give customers an opportunity to learn more and find it through my footer menu. So those are the different groups in our navigation items, footer menu and main menu. But let's just say I want to make an adjustment or add a navigation item. So maybe I want to say, about us. Add that to my main menu because it's super important, the mission I'm trying to communicate. All I have to do is click Pages because we created a page called About Us, and then click About Us. Once we add it, we're good to go. Now, how do I add these drop-down menus? How do I create these little drop-down menus here? It's simple. All we have, well, maybe not simple, but I like to think it's pretty intuitive. Let's just say I want to create an About Us dropdown. And I'll link it to You know what? I can link it to anywhere. That's the benefit of it. I'm just going to link it to my return policy. So I'll go ahead and click returns. Now, if I were to save this right here, we would see men's, women's, about us, and about us returns all in the same level. But if I were to actually drag about us a little bit to the right underneath about us, now it's a drop-down menu, similar to women's shoes and men's shirt, what we're looking at right here. That's how we can add a drop-down menu. It's a really neat way. And once we're happy with it, we go ahead and click save, and our navigation items are all set up. Now, let's kind of continue with the deck.
Really quick, Stefan. We are going to be getting into the Shopify App Store in a second, but if you want to tee up some questions, please drop them in the Q&A. We'll get to those quickly at the end. So if your question's not in there, we might not get to it. So please get those in. Thank you.
Thanks, Josh. Yeah, please, guys, ask your questions because there'll be ways to reach me afterwards, but I'm a lot more communicative now. So there is no such thing as a silly question. Trust me, I ask a lot of them sometimes, but there's no such thing. So guys, go for it. Alrighty. Now, let's look at navigation items. This is bad because, as you can see, we have a lot of navigation items. It takes a large chunk of our page. Here's a great example of a simple navigation item. Simple is good. Now for Allbirds, they have a really nice footer navigation, and it's a great way to communicate additional information like your contact information or even information about your company. Allbirds focuses on shopping, so they have that here on the top left corner. Just a reminder, people read from left to right, but they have additional information down here. Now, premium and paid Shopify themes will actually have something called a mega menu. I mentioned mega menus in the past. If you're going to be dealing with large catalog stores, you're going to want to find a Shopify theme with a mega menu, because here we have a very simple first primary level navigation area. And then below we have opportunities to, and these are all collections, by the way, but we have opportunities to communicate more specific products or more specific collections, just to give customers a really easy way of finding what they're looking for. So when it came to collections, as I mentioned, these are all different collections: tees, tank tops, bodysuits, and so on from there. And they could have created a manual collection of dragging tees into tees, or they could have created a manual collection. If the product type is a t-shirt, add it to tees. If it contains the word tees, add it to tees in an automated fashion. But mega menus are a really cool way of going about communicating more products for large store catalogs. Now we kind of looked into this, so I'll kind of continue from there. The things to remember: keep your navigation as simple and tidy as possible. Save extra, not important information or links to the footer. Try to avoid using too many drop downs, because drop downs aren't too effective. They are, but if I have to click tees and I have to click summer tees and it goes red, white, summer tees, too many drop downs are problematic. So keep it as simple as possible, like I said. And when it comes to large catalog stores, mega menus, they work really, really well. I tried whistling there. It didn't really work too well. Let's talk about shipping and taxes. How do we actually calculate the shipping cost for a specific product? And how do we actually get the taxes for that specific product, just to make sure you're remitting them properly? Super, super important area. So how do we go ahead and calculate shipping? Now, this is a little new. We're going to go all the way to the bottom of our dashboard and click Settings. In Settings, we have Shipping and Delivery. Once we click into that, we're going to go ahead and see that we're shipping to two areas: domestic, which is Canada, and internationally to the United States. Now, let's just say I want to take a look at some of the rates. When I first start my Shopify store, PS, it's actually going to have some of the, actually a large chunk of this information I'm going to go over with you, actually pre-filled. So it's a lot easier to edit than to add information. But let's just say I want to add a new area. I'm shipping internationally all of a sudden, or I want to adjust some of the rates for my existing country or internationally into the United States. I can just click Manage Rates. Cool. Here we can see all of my products that I'll be shipping. Remember, when we added a product, there was an area saying, would you like to ship this product? If I clicked check, or if I left the default, which is check, I'll see all of the products here, which is really neat. But here I can see that I'm shipping from this specific area, this address, this temporary address. And where am I shipping to? I'm shipping domestically to Canada, and I have all of these rates, and all of these are kind of default and standard when I first start, but I've also added the United States, and I've also added some rates. Here we can see I'm actually doing two different type of rates, weight-based rates. So I'm calculating if it weighs a specific amount, put a specific number to it. Or if I'm saying if an item is $100 and up, make it free. But let's add a rate to United States. So we can actually do something called carrier calculated rates. So we can actually choose a carrier later on, and that carrier, let's just say Canada Post is a good one, a very popular one. It'll actually go into Canada Post and actually display rates based off of what Canada Post would charge. It's as simple as that. I like using it. Canada Post honors that system as well, so the prices that are displayed are prices that they'll ship out, but let's just say I want to control my shipping rates a little bit more. First, I want to go ahead and name my rates. So typically you'll see like standard shipping. It's really cool, a little bit of a tip at how long standard shipping is. Remember, people are hesitant to knowing how long shipping works. People hate shipping in general. So if you can say standard 7-day shipping, they'll be like, okay, I should expect this package 7 days from now. But let's just call it standard for now. Here we can use pricing. We can declare pricing based off of a weight. So let's just say if my my product I'm shipping is 20 kilograms minimum and a maximum of 100 kilograms, I want to charge $20. And now when a customer is purchasing that product and that product is in between 20 and 100 kilograms, or combined a bunch of products under 20 to 100 kilograms, it will cost $20 to ship standard. That's the way I can control my rates. But if I want to go ahead and base it off of price, let's just say if my price is typically $20 to $100, I have a general idea. Sometimes we may know it, sometimes we may not. I'll actually declare a price. If all of my cart value is minimum 20 or 100, I can declare a price there as well. Really cool ways of going about it when it comes to shipping. If I wanted to actually add more areas, I can create a shipping zone and then declare more shipping rates. Let's just say I want to target the rest of the world. I strongly don't recommend going for rest of the world because that includes like army bases in like Timbuktu and countries you probably never even heard of, including myself. So if you want to choose a specific country or even get as specific as a state or province, you can search the country you want to ship to and then declare prices for how long it could ship based off of the product requirements. So hopefully that gives you a good idea of shipping. We can talk a little bit more about shipping afterwards. It's a little bit of a little bit to grasp in the beginning. I understand it's a little bit intimidating, but once you start playing around with shipping zones, which is areas you're shipping to, and the rates you want to charge based off of weight, price, or even carrier calculated rates, it makes life a heck of a lot easier. So the cool thing about Shopify is you can now offer local delivery. I can go in and state, I'm going to ship to specific areas. You can declare postal codes or general areas you can local deliver to. It's really, really easy. And once you click manage, all you have to say is, yes, I'm delivering locally, and you can declare the GTA and different areas and so on from there. You can offer local pickup if that's something you want. And that's super, super fascinating and super, super easy as well.
We had a specific shipping question. Sorry, Stefan, to cut you off there. Oni was wondering why Shopify charges USD for shipping label transaction paid in Canadian dollars at Canada Post. Do you have any ideas on that?
That's definitely a bit of a beast of a question, or a beast of an answer. Oni, if it's okay with you, I'm going to give you my information at the end of this course. We only have a limited amount of time, and that's a heck of an answer. So let me go ahead and answer that for you afterwards. And luckily, I'll make sure to get that clarified for yourself. But yes, Shopify does incorporate the payment with the shipping labels and so on from there. But it's a little bit more than I have time to explain right now. So great question. I'll make sure it's answered. And let's kind of continue it from there. So let's kind of go into taxes overall. How do we go ahead and charge taxes? So here we can see that I can charge taxes in Canada, United States, and rest of world. Now, the only reason why I see these three areas, it's because I've created zones to ship to. If you don't create a shipping zone, which is an area you're going to be shipping to, then you won't see areas to collect taxes. And in my example with my store, I am a Canadian-based entity. So I'm going to be charging provincial and global tax for my country. But when it comes to charging tax in the United States and the rest of the world, if you don't have a physical business location in that country, you do not need to charge tax in those countries. Questions I always get. But let's just say I want to adjust some of the taxes in my region, domestically, Canada. So here I have my federal tax, my global tax, which is 5%. But the cool thing about Shopify is it actually by default adds all of your provincial style taxes if you want to charge that. Here you can see all of that right here. You can play around with it, and if you just want to reset it, you can go ahead and click reset right here. If we scroll down, we have a really cool area to do tax overrides. Let's just say I don't want to charge tax on a specific product. I can actually go ahead and click add tax override, choose a collection. Here I have a test collection, and in all of the products in this test collection, I do not want to charge taxes on that product. So I'll add it to 0 and then click add override. So all of the products in that collection will no longer have tax associated with them. Awesome. So I know this is a lot to grasp, and I'm moving forward a little vaguely, but just to give you enough information to move forward with yourselves. But like I said, if I have time, I'll be more than happy to review with you guys afterwards. Alrighty, so let's talk a little bit more about this slide deck. I like doing these things as interactive as possible, just to give you guys a better sense. We spoke about our taxes, how we can go ahead and set federally and provincially, how we can override taxes if we're not charging taxes. And now let's talk about how to get paid. Alrighty. Now, in our settings, we have payment providers. And you know what? Let's make this interactive again. If I go into settings and I go into payments, I can actually declare how I want to get paid. Now, when you're starting with a Shopify store, I strongly recommend to choose Shopify Payments. It's Shopify's payment gateway powered by Stripe. And the best part about it is you just enter a few details and you can start accepting payments immediately. If you want to accept things like PayPal, you can totally do that. If you even want to accept Bitcoin, if you're a crazy merchant like that, you can do things like choose alternative payments. And I think there's like Bitcoin. You have so many different options to go from, but it's really, really powerful. Now, let's just say you don't want to use Shopify Payments, which is the way to get paid, and you want to use like Moneris, for example, because you're using an existing payment gateway. You can go into choose so many different providers. Now, side note, if you're selling bows and arrows and risky specific items, good for you, but you might not be able to use Shopify Payments. In that case, maybe use authorize.net, because you can sell a lot of riskier style products, like CBD, for example, which is, of course, legal in Canada, was a bit of a risky product. And I'm not 100% sure if you can still sell it using Shopify Payments. But if that's your gift and that's what you want to sell, power to you. Try using something like authorize.net. It's a really cool payment gateway. Just enter some banking details and you're good to go to start collecting payments. Awesome. So let's talk about continuing getting paid. Now, into accepting payments, do you want to automatically accept it or do you want to manually accept it? Automatically is just going to pay you out every few days, or manually will go ahead and allow you to say, hey, I want this in my bank account now. Now, benefit of automatic is if you're dealing with less risky products, go for automatic. Makes your life a heck of a lot easier. But if you're going to go down the manual approach, a good reason to go down manual is because maybe you're afraid of, maybe you're starting off in the beginning and you don't want to accept payments for large items. Let's just say, for example, when I helped my client sell diamonds online, he would accept an order and then he would have about 7 days to research the customer, reach out to them, and if he was happy, he can manually accept that order, which is super powerful. So I would go with automatic if you want to make life easy, but if you are being extra precautious, manually accepting payments from customers is a good way of going about it. Now, let's get ready to launch. What do we need to do to launch? One is we need to connect our domain. Underneath online store, you'll see domains. If you don't have a domain, you can actually buy a domain directly in Shopify. But if you actually have like a domain, maybe on like GoDaddy, for example, you can actually click connect existing domain, enter the GoDaddy domain, and Shopify makes it so easy to integrate with GoDaddy. You just enter your domain, so stefanperalta.com, click a button, and automatically your domain from GoDaddy is synced directly to your Shopify store. It's really, really easy. But hey, if you want to start off simple, buying a domain in Shopify makes life easy as well. So here's an example of connecting an existing domain. If I add in my domain here, stefanperalta.com, and it's with GoDaddy, it'll give me a button, and then I can link it to my store. Here's an example of buying a domain. So we kind of looked at how to pick a theme to kind of get an idea of what our store will look like. How do we customize that theme? How do we add a product to sell on our store? How do we go ahead and create pages? How do we go ahead and add navigation items to give customers a chance to look through your store? How do we go ahead and add shipping and taxes? Lots of great information here. But now I'm going to go into Shopify apps. Cool.
Before we jump into Shopify apps, so everything on the e-commerce side, we have the recording of this, you'll get it. So if you feel like it came at you fast, this is normally like a 4-hour session condensed down into 2 hours. So just keep that in mind. You can skip through and pause different areas in the recording. Also for the Shopify apps, I will be sending out all the important links for the Shopify apps in a separate worksheet in a Google Doc to everyone who signed up to the GA instance. So you will all get all that information. So if you feel this is coming at you fast, don't worry. Stefan and I are here to make sure you're going to be successful. So Shopify apps, let's hit it.
You got it. Thanks so much, Josh. And Josh is 100% right. This is a lot of information to digest. And maybe it might not be the first time, but like Josh said, there's a recording. I'll answer your questions afterwards. And like I said, don't hesitate to reach out because my success is your success. So please keep that in mind. Continuing from here, we got Shopify apps. So Shopify apps, for those who aren't too familiar, are ways of just extending your Shopify store. And what I mean by is when you create an online store with Shopify, typically it's find the product, add it to cart, go to checkout, you're done and done. Now, sometimes you might be a restaurant, for example, and maybe you might need a way to display your recipe. Or maybe you want to add a feature to like track orders in your online store. You could have that built, but it's extremely expensive. But that's where the Shopify app store marketplace comes into play. It gives you a great way to find ways to extend a typical Shopify e-commerce store and make it work with either your business model or just the way you just conduct business in general. So we'll be diving into the App Store relatively soon, but I want to make sure you're aware of a few things. The more apps you install, the more it'll take to load your Shopify store. Now, let's just say I'm installing an app to have a slideshow, an Instagram widget, a testimonial area, lots of different things. The more apps you have installed, the longer the page load, and that might have a bit of a negative effect if your customer is trying to access your store and it's taking a long time to load, or even Google page speed, like if your page takes too long to load, it's not a huge factor, but it's a factor regardless when it comes to SEO optimization. So simple, don't install too many themes, and only install the themes that you think you need. Make sure to create a list of all the apps that you want to install, and do it kind of identify which ones you actually need. Now, before you even install an app because you want to incorporate like a video, for example, on your online store, make sure you dig into your Shopify theme because there's a good chance that your Shopify theme might have that customization available within that Shopify theme. So definitely keep that in mind. And every app that we'll be going through actually has a demo store with a visual example. So you can get an idea of what that app will actually do before you actually go ahead and install it. But there's something I want to make sure you're very aware of before installing an app. Apps are created by developers. And before you install an app, I find it I strongly recommend that you reach out to that app developer before you install the app. And the reason being is you want to know how long a developer or their support team will take to respond to your question. Maybe it's important to get an answer for that question, but if the developer or support specialist on their team takes maybe 2-3 days, there's a chance by installing an app, you're introducing some sort of risk to your online store. And it's super, super important to reach out to that developer, start building a relationship with them, and because that app will be maybe fundamental to your online business. So super, super important to keep in mind. So before I go into app-specific categories, let's actually go into how to access the App Store. So we're back into our Shopify dashboard. To access our apps, we click Apps here. This is what it looks like when we have an app installed. I can click into this app and start customizing it to work for my online store. But if I want to visit the App Store, all I have to do is click Visit the Shopify App Store. So here we have our App Store. Very similar, my list came out. Very similar to the Shopify theme store, but we have different categories. We have apps for helping your customers find products, apps for marketing, whether it's content marketing or different types of social media marketing. There's so many apps. I think there's about like over 2,000 apps in the Shopify App Store. So there's lots of different apps for different type of solutions. So the great thing about the Shopify App Store is, let's say I want to find an app for order tracking. I want my customers to go onto my website and track their order for better credibility and better visibility. I can just go ahead and start entering the word order tracking. And I can see that other people have searched this term because I'm getting results right here. If I click into order tracking, it's going to give me all of these different apps that will do necessarily the same thing, track my order. Let's go into Aftership, a pretty popular order tracking app. Here in the app area, it'll give you a great idea of letting you know exactly what the app does. Order status lookup gives you a branded tracking page and gives your customers shipping notifications. It's perfect what I'm looking for. If we continue scrolling, there's 3 areas that the app developer can highlight. Like I said, branded tracking page, track all of these different fulfillment services in one place, and an all-in-one sales tool. Now, if I continue scrolling down for this specific app, I can go ahead and see a full description of this app, giving me more information. I can see if this app integrates with other type of solutions, different apps. A really cool thing is I can see a media gallery explaining how this app actually works when a customer starts to look for their product, or sorry, their order. It's really neat. Continuing on from there, this is really important. Some apps are free. Typically, apps will be on like a monthly rate, or some apps are just a one fixed cost. This is where we find out how much an app costs. And sometimes, like I said, it's free, monthly, or fixed. And this is where, if we scroll down, it gives us full transparency on how much this app could cost. In this case, this app is free, but it's a usage-based cost, meaning the more my customers are using it, meaning I'm having more engaged customers, typically resulting in more sales, meaning you might have to pay as your business grows. It's not a bad model overall. Below here, we have our reviews. Now, similar to themes, Shopify does a really good job of making sure that the reviews are real and vetted, so it's a great way to see all the different reviews. It's also nice to be able to see all of the helpful versus recent and see all of the ratings. Now, I always like looking at 3-star reviews because for some reason, I don't know, that's just my personal opinion. I like to see what's great and what can be improved and how long ago that was. Maybe the app developer resolved some of these issues, things you got to take into consideration before installing an app. But yeah, so now that we have a general idea, we can search through apps if we know what app specifically we're looking for through the search bar. We can look at different categories, different apps do different things, and this is a great way to navigate to finding what app helps. And we also have our different collections. So launching your business, a Shopify point of sale system, apps for all different types of scenarios. Great, now let's get back to our presentation. There are different apps that solve different problems. This has affected a lot of businesses, and it's amazing to see great organizations like LaunchYou, General Assembly, and so on do amazing things. But if you're looking for a Shopify app to actually help with store pickup and delivery, Shopify does offer that out of the box. But if you're looking for more advanced functionality for curbside pickup and local delivery, Zapier is a really good application. What it'll do is when a customer gets to the cart page, right before they check out, they can just enter their postal code of where they want that product shipped. Zapier will say, hey, we offer local delivery. Here are all the different stores that you can pick up this product. And it's really intuitive. So a really wicked app. Now, with COVID, there's a lot more scenarios where we now have to book appointments to go to a physical location. Sesame is a great app. Let's just say you're a yoga studio, for example, and you can only have a certain amount of folks in your store. You can actually create a product that's just an appointment, allow people to pay for that product online, and allow them to book an appointment directly in that product. And the great thing about that appointment is it gets synced directly to your Google Calendar, and it's a really intuitive and easy way for you to do appointment-based bookings directly on your online store. Now you're not just selling a product, you're selling a service that has appointments associated with that service. And Sesame does a really good job, and it integrates with your point of sale system. So if a customer books something online, they can go into your store. If you have a Shopify point of sale system, you can register and do everything you need to do in your physical store. Really, really cool. Now, are there any apps to build trust? Well, the answer is yes, because I have a deck for it right here. So what are some good apps to build trust? Now, social proof. Social proof could be anything like a little widget that appears saying, Stefan Peralta just purchased these pairs of shoes 20 minutes ago. Or Josh purchased this pair of pants 10 minutes ago. These are little widgets like trust badges, like 100% refund guarantees. No hassle-free shipping returns. These are little widgets that you can incorporate in your Shopify store using this app. And the great thing about this app is allow you to do something called A/B testing. You can test what little trust badges work better than others. So that way you're using the most effective trust badges and social proof tactics built all into this app that's just easy to use. In a couple clicks, it's actually pretty straightforward to start understanding how it works. So Farah, they do a great job with social proof. Next is Judge Me. When we looked at the Chubbies example earlier, they had reviews in their online store. And Judge Me is one of the many amazing review apps. I really like Judge Me because let's just say you have a different store on a different platform outside of Shopify. Judge Me actually allows you to pull reviews from your other store and display them directly into your Shopify store. So that way you're not losing all those reviews you worked so hard of getting. And the great thing about it is with Judge Me, you can add photos. You can actually use those pictures from your product reviews and use them for like social campaigns saying, hey, we have 500 5-star reviews, or Nafis really likes my product and he wrote this review. Lots of great things you can do with Judge Me. And it's a great way to build trust and credibility because nothing beats product reviews. So there is even Shopify apps for making more sales. And how do we even make more sales is the question. Bundling our products and increasing something called an average order value. What average order value means is if I have one t-shirt in my cart that costs $5, I would rather have 2 t-shirts in my cart that would be worth $15. So Candy Rack is a great way, and let me give you an example. If I'm selling shoes online, and I want to add a pair of socks for a discounted rate, if you purchase that pair of shoes, that's how you can go ahead and do so. And that's what we call a cross-sell. Now, let's just say I want to add a pair of shoes, but I want to discount an additional a pair of shoes for 50% off. It just increases our cart value, our average order value. That's called upsell. And this app, Candy Rack, will allow you to put these kind of cool little upsell, cross-sells together. So of course you got to understand your merchandise in order to do that in advance. But once you realize this product A and product B goes really well together and it would really benefit your customer, that's a great way of making more sales. And upselling and cross-selling with an app like Candy Rack makes life a lot easier and makes you more revenue off a single purchase. Product bundling. Now, I'll be honest, my team actually built this app. It's called Bundable, but it's a little bit different than upselling products. It's just a way to, let's just say you're selling kits. Let's just say you're selling, what does everyone call Toronto? Buy the 6 box, I guess. And in that box, you can have multiple different products, a t-shirt, socks, all different products that you upload into Shopify, but into one box, and then purchase that box. It's a great way of selling a bunch of products all at once. And we've seen a lot of success and a lot of revenue being built with this app for other merchants as well. Great way to start making more sales. Now, let's talk about more advanced customizations. Now, let's just say you're using a free theme, and maybe your free theme might be pretty standard and you might not be able to customize it too much, but you want to build a beautiful storytelling about us page, but your free theme is kind of limiting. Luckily, an app like Pagefly Advanced Page Builder will actually give you a really cool way of drag and dropping really cool layouts in your Shopify store. So you don't have to code layouts or resort on purchasing a premium Shopify theme with more extensive layouts. You can actually do it, and it's free, I think, for your first 3 pages directly in Shopify. So if you install Pagefly, it gives you a really cool, like I said, drag and drop, code-free way of building really extensive pages to storytell and communicate your brand messaging. That's really neat. Now, let's just say you're in the print business, for example. Let's just say you sell t-shirts and you allow customers to add their logos onto your t-shirts. You maybe sell jerseys and you want your customers to add their brand, or you sell mugs and you want people to put their brand on your mug and sell that mug. Customify is a great way of doing it. Once you install the app, it'll allow you to add your base product, so like a blank t-shirt, and when a customer, before a customer clicks add to cart, they can click configure. It'll open up this really cool area where you can just upload pictures, customize the look and feel of that specific product, whether it's a mug, whether it's a shoe, whether it's a t-shirt, and give your customers advanced customizations to sell that specific product. It's really, really neat. But now let's talk about customer retention. Now, for those who aren't familiar with customer retention, to simplify it is, what kind of apps can help me retain customers? In the world of e-commerce, it's a lot easier to sell to an existing customer than to a brand new customer. So are there any apps that can help me retain customers? How do I get repeat purchases is the term I'm looking for. And Smile is a great way of doing it. Smile is a loyalty program. So basically, if those who aren't too familiar with a loyalty program, it's like, if you purchase 3 shirts, you get a free product through this loyalty program. Or maybe I've made a purchase of an existing item on an online store and I want to refer other people. There are so many ways of doing loyalty programs, and it takes a lot of thinking and strategies involved with it. But the way I say is like, hey, if you want to keep a loyalty program, it's really good for referral-based marketing, but it's also good to retain a customer, because if that customer comes back to your store and makes that purchase, they're more likely to get a discount code down the road, maybe a free item after they've made so many purchases. Smile is super easy, intuitive, Ontario-based, and they make loyalty and retention style strategies really, really easy, and more importantly, really, really effective. So what else can we do? There are a lot of ways of actually navigating and growing your online store. And this is a little bit outside of the Shopify app marketplace, but I'm actually going to come back to this slide a little bit later on. But there's some really cool things, if we have time, that I'm going to be taking you guys through. But now next we're going to be talking about marketing and growth. So here are some really cool ways to actually start marketing and start building growth for your online brand. After, of course, you've launched your store. First is content marketing. As we all know, there's podcasts almost on every topic, but it's a great way to start building your, how do I put this? Your industry leadership. When you're adding content through your online store, it's an amazing way to start building up organic SEO ranking. It's probably one of the best ways in my opinion, but it makes you the industry leader. So content marketing that kind of complements your product. So going back to shoes, 9 ways to tie your shoes. We've all probably read it somewhere. It's a great way to start growing your business, and it's really, really effective. And that's why I say be a specialist. So when you're trying to grow your brand, try to go onto things like forums. There's a lot of forums where people talk about their problems. If you have an online business, go into your forum, go into a specific forum post and say, hey, I read on Quora that you have issues with this. I actually launched a business selling a good that solved this problem. Really, really neat. Next, we have social media marketing. I love user-generated content. When it comes to social media marketing, it's pretty much a way to offer free value to get customers engaged with your content and then actually go ahead and try selling them something. User-generated content makes it really easy because you can take reviews, for example, add them to a social media post using a tool like Canva I reviewed earlier, and really, really effective because you're not just selling things, you're actually giving other people's perspective through your social channels and makes it really, really, really effective. But when it comes to social media marketing, that's a whole beast in itself. But whatever you do, consistency is key. Next, we're going to be talking about email marketing. Now, if you're first starting off, MailChimp is a great email service. Integrates directly into your Shopify store. But if you're getting more advanced and you've already used MailChimp and you want to take that step up, tools like Klaviyo or OmniSend are great email services as well. Now, I always like referring to businesses, focus on organic marketing. Don't focus too much on paid marketing because if you're paying to actually bring traffic to your online store, it's not that effective, especially if you forget that your credit card expired a long time ago. But if you are going to be going for that, affiliate marketing, maybe finding an influencer on like Instagram or TikTok or YouTube to actually advertise your product is a great way. And I'll show you some really cool tools to do so afterwards. Advertising, but be careful, like I said, don't focus on too much paid advertising because once you run out of money, your traffic is more or less not going to be there. But Google Shopping is also a great way of actually starting to promote your items because at the end of the day, people typically just search for products or solutions on Google. So if you have advertising, Google Ads running, that's a great way of going about it. Pretty cost effective mostly. But Google Shopping is another way for you to actually start outputting your products on Google. And it's a sales channel you can do directly into your Shopify dashboard, which is really neat. So Blog Studio is another Shopify app that allows you to build a beautiful blog directly into your online store. People say Shopify lacks a little bit on the blog side. It's on the theme side, but if you want a really good blog and really want to design a really good blog, Blog Studio is a great way of going about it. Gorgeous is amazing for customer support. If you want to be able to consolidate Facebook comments, general customer support, email, phone numbers, you can do that all directly in this customer support app called Gorgeous. It's a great way to monitor anywhere your customers might be reaching out to you directly in one area, making your life a heck of a lot easier. Now, going back to influencer marketing / affiliate marketing, hashtag paid is a great way to start off, to start looking for influencers. Maybe start off with micro influencers that have a small but engaged following, because that's a lot more cost effective than going for the largest influencer for a specific industry. Now, Google Channel, we talked about paid advertising, that's Google Ads, but there's an app for actually Google Channel. Let's just say you're selling furniture. People search furniture on Google like crazy for some reason. I don't know why, but I clearly don't buy enough furniture. But Google Channel is an app that you can install directly into your Shopify store, create your products, and display them in Google. And it's really, really effective. And you wouldn't believe the amount of revenue that my agency has built in the past just using Google Channel. It's a lot. I'll leave that there. Oh, this is really cool. When you launch your online store, you might not have an idea if your store is effective based off of your design, but Hotjar will actually screen record your customers using your store. And that's amazing because we have all these analytics and metrics and numbers and so on from there. But what better than actually getting screen recordings of your customers on your online store? It's free, I believe, for the first 100 screen recordings and gives you a lot better of idea of what improvements you can make for your online store. I really love this. Here's some tools, community, and inspiration moving forward. We're almost at the end, guys. Here's a link for the top 500 most successful Shopify stores. Do yourself a favor and study them. Identify patterns. What are these 500 stores doing in a pattern-like motion? One thing I'll give it to you, and I've mentioned this before, they're all extremely simple. Next, Commerce Cream, developed by my good friends over in Ottawa. are the best, beautiful Shopify stores. They're not very template specific, but they're a great source of inspiration for great photography, uses of color, and really unique style e-commerce stores, which are pretty fantastic. Now, I moderate a group called Shopify Entrepreneurs. We're the largest Shopify Facebook group in the world, luckily. We have well over 100,000 members. They're super engaged. And afterwards, check out Shopify Entrepreneurs. If you don't have a store, that's one of the requirements. Just say Stefan or General Assembly or Launch YU recommended you, and I'll make sure that you get in. And it's a great community. Like I said, this is all community, and there's no better community, trust me, than the Shopify community. If you're into podcasts like I am, the Unofficial Shopify podcast by my good friend Kurt in Chicago is amazing. They talk about Black Friday. They talk about every single topic that you can ever imagine. So invest in that podcast if you can. Now, learn from the best. Shopify's blog is also amazing. So if you want brand new features on news and all of the goodness coming out, Shopify, this blog right here from Shopify is super amazing. Now, I'll leave it back to Josh and the team before I start answering any questions, but here's how you can reach out to me. I know we've gone through this pretty quickly, and I appreciate everyone's patience. But if you ever have any questions, I want to do what I can to support you guys to the best of my ability. So you know what? Here's my email. Here's my Instagram. Here's my website. Don't be afraid to reach out.